Good evening, guys. Mikey here. I'm really excited to be watching the second release of the Dune trailer. I've been holding off, waiting to catch it with you lot. Bloody love the books. Let's take a look.
My planet Arrakis is so beautiful when the sun is low. Rolling over the sands, you can see spice in the air. The outsiders ravage our lands in front of our eyes.
Almost 2 years, friend.
Their cruelty to my people is all I've known.
Miliator, thanks for the sub.
What's to become of our world? Paul.
A boy.
Hey, Duncan, can I trust you with something?
Yes, always. You know that.
I've been having dreams about a girl on Arrakis. I don't know what it means.
Dreams make good stories. But everything important happens when we're awake. Hey, you. Put on some muscle?
I did?
No.
We are House Atreides. There is no call we do not answer. There is no faith that we betray.
Smile, Gurney.
I am smiling.
The Emperor asks us to bring peace to Arrakis. House Atreides accepts!
I know you. There's something awakening in my mind.
You need to face your fears.
Come with me.
You need to be ready. You never met Harkonnens before. They're not human, they're brutal.
The Duke's son sees too much.
This is Dune. Kill them all. God in heaven.
Get everything with guns off the ground! Go!
This is an extermination. They're picking my family off one by one.
Let's fight like demons.
Dad, what if I'm not the future of House Atreides?
A great man doesn't seek to lead. He's called to it. But if your answer is no, you'll still be the only thing I ever needed you to be. My son.
Aww.
If anything happens, will you protect Paul?
With my life.
Only together can we stand a chance.
It's time.
Oh my god, fuck yes! Fuck yes! Look at my recommended life. Predator movies, clips from Star Trek.
1 year well spent.
Yo. Yo, sorry, we were just focusing on that trailer. Oh my god, I'm so fucking excited for that. Fuck, that was even better than the last one. Aliator, thank you so much for the resub. Nearly 2 years, buddy. 20 months, absolute hero. And also, Nicotophobia, thank you very much for the 12 months. You have just hit 1 whole year. Yes, welcome on in for some more. Come, friends. Yo, guys, so that was brilliant. We are going to now take a look through this again, and we're going to have a little talk about it. Sorry, I wanted to give it my full attention. Oh, that looks so fucking good. What do you guys think so far in chat? Yo, it looks fantastic in 4K. You're fucking right, it does. Yo, so let's start right here. These are your Ornithopters, right? Because if you kind of know your Dune, we've already been through the Butlerian Jihad, where basically it was kind of like an uprising against thinking machines and technology, because humankind was actually nearly enslaved by its own AI technological advancements, like like hundreds of thousands of years ago. So it's ingrained in human culture. Thou shalt not make a machine in the image of a man's mind, or something like that. So it means that microchips and thinking processes are out. So a lot of the technology is often a bit more directly human integrated. So ornithopters have to kind of fly and flap, and you pull levers and shit. Kiani right here might be, God, she looks so good. Kiani might be, I've got a big thing for like raggedy wild hair. Might be the way she is in Paul's dream. So this might be one of Paul's premonition dreams, more than anything else. I cannot wait to watch this, young man. Mate, Todge, absolutely. This is like one of the few, because like, as some of you guys might know, I've got another YouTube channel called Film Cram. We've done a lot with movies years ago. It still runs now. But I ended up watching so many films and so many bad films, I got sick of them. So I've started to be like really particular about what I'll be bothered to go to the cinema for. And I am very keen for James Bond, and absolutely this. Denis Villeneuve is directing this. This guy knows how to wait, not push too fast. Oh, Todge, tell me, who's the guy? Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan could have done a visually similar film. If you took any one or two shots from this movie, maybe Christopher Nolan would have made something similar, but the actual experience of watching it would have been utterly different. You 110% need Denis Villeneuve. I'm so pleased.
It's so beautiful when the sun is low.
I agree with the premonition. That Tarzan hair, mate, I love it.
Over the sands.
Roger Deakins, look, we talked about this so many fucking times. Who is one of the best cinematographers in the industry, i.e. the guy who lines up the shots and works with the storyboarding team and designs what lens is going to go and look really fucking good for what moment in the movie? Roger fucking Deakins. Do you remember what everybody loved about Rogue One? It looked fucking amazing. Any single shot in Rogue One looked great. What did you think of the Rogue One movie? Don't ask. Don't ask. What did you think of the stills? Yo, so I'm assuming what this is later on in the movie, you've got Paul and Jessica. This might even be Paul and Stilgar with among the Fremen, or at least they're out in the desert and they're having some of their early interactions with either the spice miners or with the what do you call the pirates, the smugglers. So there's an entire spice industry on Arrakis, obviously, but there's an entire smuggling spice industry as well, and it's kind of important to keep an eye on it and have a good relationship with it. The flexible sword still knows how to thrust, do you know what I mean, as opposed to shut it down completely. So yeah, look at this, look at just this.
The outsiders ravage our lands in front of our eyes.
So when they say outsiders, so I'm assuming maybe these shots are supposed to be of Harkonnens, because Arrakis is like a, we were talking about ecologies and planet-wide ecologies just the other day, but Arrakis is like a desert planet. Its whole purpose is for the production of spice, despite the locals having their own cultures and religions and shit. So they're kind of like trying to constantly suck this planet dry. There's a lot of metaphors in this film. So the Harkonnens are cruelly holding it in contractual fiefdom, and they're coming to the end of their 5 contract of running this planet, and the emperor of all known humankind, you know, Emperor Shaddam IV, because the year is 10,191, the known universe is ruled by Padishah Emperor Shaddam IV, my father. In this time, the greatest... No, anyway, I could quote the entire movie, but I'm not gonna. Miss Kiss, lovely to see you, Hayden, you lovely thing. I like that the Rogue One movie didn't spoon-feed the audience in explaining things, and it showed more to bring upon the story. I really love how they did that. I did, actually. Overall, I do actually feel positive about Rogue One. It's easy to shit on all the spin-offs, but it is the aesthetic which was its strongest point. Okay, so we've got some Harkonnens, maybe.
Eyes.
What do you want? What do you want from me? She's gorgeous. What do you want? I'm gonna be honest. Get me any tan chick. Any tan chick. Put some blue contacts in for some role play I'd like to do in the bedroom, please. You've caught me stealing your spice. I don't know. That's one for the adult chat. Yo.
They're cool.
The Beast Rabban. So the Beast Rabban is a share cousin to the Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, and he's one of the main people who's been running this planet for the Harkonnens before the Atreides take over. And he is a very horrible, cruel person. And down here, this is something we missed discussing when we watched the original trailer, but a load of you guys were talking about it in chat in a YouTube video, and I caught you, well, I was talking with you about it, obviously. But right here is an Inkvine whip. And this is obviously, you know, it's a very cruel tool, and it's used to work on slaves. We're going to come back to that, but that's something the Beast Ravan is known for.
Their cruelty to my people is all I've known.
Classic Harkonnens, they look like shit. Hey, one of you, how you doing? Bearded Squire. Rogue One might actually be my favourite. Zendaya is gorgeous. She is so gorgeous. What are you going to do about it, though? I'm glad that most of us like the film. Yeah. I'll tell you what I really love. David Lynch's original Dune. That is a very unfortunate shot and far too real.
What's to become?
I love that. Do you want to know what I love about this? Now, I know this isn't wild, like absolutely brain-melting Technicolor, but these organic spaceship shapes, that is very, very pre-Star Wars 70s science fiction. That is like, this has a really old school vibe to it. After Star Wars, all spaceships were shaped like jet fighters. But like back in that early 70s stuff where you just had a load of artists who spent their time doing acid in the 60s would be commissioned to do like sci-fi paintings as part of the storyboard to movies in the 70s. They used to make a load of shit like this.
Of our world.
Also, it's got a slight vibe of the Jodorowsky Dune book, the Jodorowsky original storyboarding, although only it hints at it. It hints at it. It's aware of its heritage without being beholden to it. Mate, who did the storyboarding and main design work to Dune? Oh my god, wait, we know. Guys, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's very, very rarely on Twitch. But one of the 3D artists who literally makes the shit that we're looking at right now, who's worked on this film, sometimes live streams, 3D software streams. And in his spare time, because he can't talk about his work, but in his spare time, he remakes like the old school anime spaceships from like 80s anime. But he makes them at a studio quality. Yeah. We'll have to look him up in a bit.
Come of our world.
So, Paul obviously dreams of Arrakis. Now, we've got two things going on here. I'm assuming this is Caladan because Paul's early dreams take place on Caladan. However, I'm assuming this is Arrakis because in the books, Paul has a room which is designed to entice him. Because remember, the Atreides take over from the Harkonnens, so the Harkonnens leave. But they leave a lot of traps behind because this is like a feudal galactic-wide system where houses are still at war with each other and try to poison and kill and assassinate each other in a vie for power. I forget what it's called, but it's like chow mein for poison in the food and like murky or something for poison in the drink. Like they've got terms for the forms of Canly, which is like the way of being at conflict with another house. It's all like officiated. So they design a room that would entice a young Paul Atreides. So he ends up picking this for his bedroom. And I think in the books, like one of these fish eyes, this is if it's not Caladan, because Caladan's a wet country, whereas Arrakis is dry. So the idea of fish isn't really an Arakeen motif. But I think it's like one of the fish eyes or something opens up for a trap. And there's like a hunter-killer or a hunter-seeker. I must grab it tightly. It will be slippery at the bottom. It would have killed me. Triangles bad, circles good. Wait, that's why we got triangles for the MegaVerse. So this right here, unless this is planet Kaitain, home of the Emperor, this is Arrakis. Sorry, this is Caladan.
Oh boy.
Now, before the entire household of the Atreides, and by a household, we are talking about an entire planet-wide army of people up and move to a brand new planet. They send ahead some of their finest men to scout the land, like you do with I think in the American Army. That's what the scouts are. They're always your first units, right? They've got light mobile infantry They often have tanks and light armored vehicles, and their job is to go in and look and come back alive, right? Before the army then moves in to get intelligence. So Duncan Idaho is the sword master. He is the sword dancer for House Atreides, and he's involved in training Paul, but he's also very much Duke Leto's man. Him and Paul might be friends, but he's the man of Duke Leto, and he is sent down long before the family moves to get a feel for the lay of the land, embed himself with the natives, and try to understand the true setup of this planet. So I'm assuming these are them having words before he goes. May the hand of God be with you, Duncan. May the hand of God be with you.
Hello there. Hey, Duncan, can I trust you with something?
Yes, always. You know that.
I've been having dreams.
Now, also, who's that actor? You know, Waterman. He's got Khal Drogo. He's got a lot of Hollywood value, right? He's a very recognizable face. More people probably recognize him than they do Timothée Chalamet, who's perfect for the role, by the way. He's got those daddy vibes. Jason Momoa. Yeah, guys, who's daddy? Who's Big Daddy in that film that we like? So later and later in the Dune books, there's a really fucking fascinating shift. And I'm talking about the good Dune books, where a lot of Paul and a lot of the shit that happens universally with him is so important that he basically realizes something very fucked up and important genealogically has to occur. And eventually he doesn't do it. And his son does. And his son does something which is like an aberration. He does an abominable thing to then see a separate plan all the way through for the sake of literally casting mankind into an unforeseen future. Because if you gain prescient vision and you can see the future and you can actually start to see the very future of mankind, the problem is you start to see the end. And so no matter whether it's aeons and generations or millions of years, if you can see the end of your species, you know that something wrong. And the whole point to save our very species is to reach a point where your prescient vision of being able to see the future trails all the way off to the point that you can't even see that far, but mankind still exists. So somebody else does that, and they end up doing it by using Duncan as part of their plan.
I don't know what it means.
So I don't believe that the films, sadly, are actually going to get made beyond the first one, and I bloody hope they actually make this part 2, because this is part 1 of the first book, this movie. I really hope they make part 2. But like by the time you're in like part 6 or part 7, it's Duncan Idaho shit that's going on in the far, 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 far future. It's so fucked up.
Dreams make good stories, but everything important happens when we're awake.
I doubt he's contracted. That's the thing. I don't think Jason Momoa has signed a 7-film contract.
Hey, you put on some muscle?
I did?
No.
That's fine. Paul is described as having a dancer's body in the early books anyway. Daddy DeVito. Okay, look, if they have to replace Jason Momoa for contracting issues, but it turns out that these films are really successful, I will accept Daddy DeVito as a replacement. Mikey, you know, every IMAX has been 2D and not 3D. I'm so fucking in. I would IMAX the fuck out of this. Yo, okay, so a lot of information's just happened there. Guys, I'm so sorry for I'm forcing you to break this down with me, but I'm just really fucking into this. So, Denis Villeneuve, lovely to have you. This, look how 70s that feels. Also, though, it reminds me slightly of that Tom Cruise. What was that Tom Cruise space movie? And I think M83 did the soundtrack. Oblivion. It's kind of got an Oblivion vibe. But also, this shape and this design is not necessarily described at all in the Dune novel, the first one. But this shape and this design is described far later in the books. It's called a no-ship. Basically, there's this technological race called the Ixians, many machines on Ix, newer than those on Reches, who learn to make a special type of spaceship, which is, unless you are physically looking right at it, it's truly undetectable. Yo, Christabug, you lovely human being. How the devil are you? Welcome on in, you lovely people. Hello, Raiders, hello. Chrisabug, it's lovely to see you. We're just doing a bit of a trailer reaction and talking about Dune, so I'm going to give you my full attention, which you absolutely deserve in just a minute. But welcome, Rain Raiders. Sorry if you guys have to sit through an advert, because I forgot to play one earlier. But hi, welcome in. My name is Mikey. I do art stuff for a living, which I will happily show you. But we're just fanboying hard over the latest Dune trailer. Chrisabug, tell me all about your stream. So they're called no ships, and unless you are directly looking at one, they basically don't exist. They don't respond to traditional stuff like radar. They don't give off heat. But they're even more than that because they're designed to act as a black spot to psychics. So if you have prescient vision or a psychic link with anyone, you literally cannot be aware of this ship. And obviously they don't make any noise or anything. So this is in the first Dune film. So this probably isn't a no ship, but the design of that is definitely indicative of some no ships that I've seen on some old school covers of some of the other Dune books as well. Efty, Todge, Michael, Kid Ludens, Texa, guys, hope you're doing really, really well. Yeah, I'm really, really sorry. I'm pretty sure most of your lot have probably just been hit with an advert when you guys have come in for that raid, for which I apologise. I tried to play one at the start of stream, but I can't remember if I did. Yo, so this is looking fascinating.
There is no call.
Duke Leto. I wish Duke Leto was my daddy. Good luck. I won't spoil anything, but I think Duke Leto wants to cash out his Bitcoin now. Let's put it that way.
No call. We do not answer.
Beautiful Lady Jessica. As you know, I love this actress. I am in love with this actress. Now, as you know, I also forget her name. What's her name again? It's like Catherine Washington? What's her name? Yeah, he's got an epic beard. Guys, what's the name of that lady I always like? You know the one that I like. She's in Mission Impossible movies. What's her name? What's her name, Mikey? Don't wait for the translation. Catherine. Her name's Catherine Whitehall. She's got a very English name. Right? Catherine Kardashian. What's her name? Don't do this to me. Don't. You know I'm bad with names. You know I'm bad with names. Anyway. Jessica. No, that's her character's name. Wait, it is Jessica. Okay, we're gonna come back to it. Look, we're coming out to this. You chose poorly.
Answer.
So, knife training. Now, as you can see, they've got shields. The idea of the technology of the future is basically blah blah laser technology. Then we stopped laser technology because we developed something called shields. Shields go on ships and they go on personal people. And these shields are designed to stop any kind of ballistic input, which is too fast. So if you stab someone who's wearing body shields, it won't go through. But if you slowly pass the knife through at a slow enough rate, it will penetrate a shield because body shields still let through air and stuff. So you learn to train in the future in fighting techniques where you fight as fast as you can, but when you go for a killing stroke, you do it slowly. Good, the slow blade penetrates the shield. But look down. We'd have joined each other in death. So this is very fascinating. And Gurney Halleck is I think he's like their weapons master troubadour. So Gurney Halleck is also responsible for training Paul to stay alive. But Gurney Halleck's loyalty to House Atreides is not like Duncan Idaho. Duncan Idaho is Duke Leto's man. Gurney Halleck is loyal to House Atreides only because House Atreides is the sworn enemy of the Harkonnen. Because Gurney's wife, and a lot of his time has been spent, like his wife died, and he's been tortured by the Harkonnen, so they're his sworn enemy. So he is 100% like, you know, an Atreides man. Like, he's not holding anything back. He gives them his very best. But, like, his motivation is different than the rest of the families. And it is aimed at your boy, Captain Inkvine Whip.
They're cruelty.
The Beast Raban in particular. That Inkvine Whip is the reason Gurney Halleck has a scar down the side of his face. Yo, let's go back here. Her name is Catherine something. That actress is called Jessica. Her name is Jessica. I think Jessica is her first name. Samantha? It's Jessica. Her name is Jessica something. Wrong. What's the actress's name? Look, I'm going to remember. I went through a phase where I remembered.
Who are you?
There
Anyway.
is no call. We do not answer. There is no faith that we betray.
So there's the Eagle of the Atreides. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming that this guy is Further Hawat. Now, Further Hawat is a Mentat, but, and here's what's so fucking dope. Paul doesn't know it, but Paul is a Mentat as well. In order to train a Mentat, you have to train their mind to work very analytically and remove the sense of self, so that all the information you process is based purely on that information, and it's not biased by your desire for what's real and what isn't, your desire for what's right, and it's not biased by assumption. So every royal family and every major household has a Mentat. They're all trained on one planet, because these are basically like human supercomputers. They process information inhumanly fast, and they're also like a master of assassins, and they help advise. So these guys are a bit like wizards that you'd get in a household, a feudal one. But the way you coax somebody's mind to work like a Mentat is that you have to train them from childhood in a very particular way, and you can't let them be aware of it. And so Paul is Mentat trained. So he's on the cusp to be the heir of this entire dukedom. But instead of relying on a separate supercomputer, he's on the cusp of becoming one himself. Anyway, Elton John. Oh, did you delete? Oh, Tosh, did somebody give the answer and you deleted it? Look, I'm going to come up with it. I'll come up with it. Now, I'm not overly familiar with the different religions of the far, far future, but we do know that Catholicism has made it all the way to the year 10,191. Where's Here we go. And everybody still follows the Orange Catholic Bible, which is like a hyper amalgamation. So this might literally just be priests and all sorts.
Smile, Gurney.
I am smiling.
The Emperor asks.
I love that. I just love that with the little rumble. So over here, this is the guild. The Spacing Guild and their navigators, far off in the chambers of Spice Melange, can fold space. That's part of why humanity is universally wide now. But the very extreme edges of the universe contain something else, but we'll come to that another time. So navigators are obviously transferring the families over from Caladan to Arrakis.
The Emperor asks us to bring peace to Arrakis. House Atreides accepts.
Yo, Aranuk Art, how you doing?
There's something awakening in my mind.
Rebecca Ferguson! Rebecca Ferguson! Rebecca Ferguson! Rebecca Ferguson! Rebecca Ferguson. I really, really, really like Rebecca Ferguson. She's gorgeous. She's so gorgeous. She's such a gorgeous person. I had to get the R and the F. I did read Texic's message where he said R and F. Anyway. Rebecca Ferguson. Look at her. This is Rebecca Ferguson when she was trying to get cast for the role of the Mummy with Tom Cruise. She was already working with Tom Cruise. This is B footage. This doesn't even belong in Dune. She was already working with Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible movies. And he was like, yo, come have a role casting. You can be Imhotep's wife or whatever. I'm doing a Mummy reboot. It's going to be really popular. It's called Universal's The Dark Universe. We're doing a really clever plan where we're going to put all of our eggs in one basket before that basket is even hatched. And we're going to do loads of publicity where we talk about all the other upcoming films in the Dark Universe and all the big actors that we've got in the Dark Universe. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely not going to fail. Come on, Rebecca Ferguson. So here she is trying to be one of the mummies. But in the end, they worked out that they could get Tom Cruise to work alongside a blonde 30-year-old nobody who would just have her pay for scale. Yeah, anyway. She's not in the Mummy. No, I know she's not. So this is when she's being embedded with the Fremen, and she has to drink the water of life, and she has to do a ceremony. Because oh my god, so basically she is the wife of Jude Leto, but she actually belongs to an order run by Gaius Helen Moahim, and they are the Bene Gesserit. So the Bene Gesserit sisterhood is basically this kind of like super nun sisterhood of women who are hyper observant and hyper capable, and they have like their own agenda where they basically control politics, and they force their own agents, if you like, to marry into households. And everybody wants a Bene Gesserit wife because they can do shit that you wouldn't believe in the bedroom, but they're also going to act as your advisors. But no matter how close you are to one, their primary drives and objectives are always the sisterhoods above yours. So even on a planet as backwater as Arrakis, the Bene Gesserit, who are fucking so intelligent, implant agents, essentially. So there's a Bene Gesserit among the Fremen who's, you know, she might have gone very, very native, but she's still one of her sisters. And what they do is, with every planet that has like a localized culture, they literally try to embed into the cultural history and cultural practices a kind of white messiah thing. And this is what's so fucking brilliant about Dune. Everybody's watched a film where they're just like, oh, it's one of those white messiah stories, it's one of those white messiah movies, you know what I mean? Tom Cruise goes to Japan and he becomes a samurai, and because he's a white man he saves them. Or, you know, someone goes to China but they're white and they teach the locals what it's like to really believe in yourself. Except Dune is aware of that trope, and it's part of the necessary story. On any planet, if the Bene Gesserit get into trouble, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, through their doctrine and what they do, they embed cultural stories about white messiahs into the native philosophies, beliefs, and histories. So that it's embedded in their story. So that on the off chance that hundreds of years later, a Bene Gesserit finds themselves stranded on a random planet with a load of like dangerous looking local tribesmen that they don't know, they can follow a preordained path of keywords, attitudes, and ways of acting around people that will more than likely fit into their cultural beliefs of an outsider coming here to be their leader. These Bene Gesserit are playing the long game. So the Fremen already have a belief structure about somebody coming from off-world to lead them to a bright future, because the Bene Gesserit implanted that into their culture hundreds of years ago as a safety net for their sisterhood. Dune is fucking incredible. And I'd like read Dune. Come look, I'm going to start reading Dune on stream. We're going to have to do it. It's such a good book. Anyway, holy shit, that's dope. Mate, I can't even. Ace of Spades, I'm just such a Dune boy. Like, I'm so bought into it. Anyway, is that writing on a wall? Mm-hmm.
You need to face your fears.
Interesting that she would say that. It sounds like she's talking about the litany. But one of the Bene Gesserit litanies is, I shall not fear, for fear is a mind killer. Fear is a little death that brings total oblivion. I will allow my fear to pass through me, and when I turn around, like, my fear is gone and only I remain. Or something similar to that. It's actually longer in the books. This dude is either Jamis, somebody who threatens Paul's position among the Fremen, or he is one of the spice smugglers that they try talking to partway through the book.
Come with me. I need to be ready. You never met Harkonnens.
Yo. So I'm assuming these are the Harkonnens torturing and killing people. Doesn't look like fun. This, I assume, is Paul with his close personal army of Fedakin. I don't know if there's anybody out there who's been reading the Wheel of Time books, or if anyone's familiar with the Wheel of Time and the AL and the AL Wastes and their prophecies of the Karakan. Whether you like or dislike the Wheel of Time, I want you to know that it's all been ripped off of Dune. It is all a milquetoast, weak version of what's in Dune. So the Fedakin are Fremen warriors and blood brothers to Paul Atreides, and I think this might be them being marked. The only reason I'm not sure is because it looks like it's been raining, and that means it's not on Arrakis, so I genuinely don't know what I'm looking at.
You never met Harkonnens before. They're not human, they're brutal.
Dukes?
Yeah, maybe this is all on Gidi Prime. This might be the Harkonnen homeworld. This might be some Gidi Prime BS. It's a shithole planet. You don't want to live there. It's all green. Thank you, Mikey. I didn't think it would be that deep, Dune that is, but I'll be a lot more aware of this plausible series. Yeah, so this is it. Like I don't know how to answer people when they're just like, tell me about Dune. Why should I be interested in this movie? Because you can be like, Dune is a book about feudal families fighting for power, but it's set in the future. But there's still essentially wizards. There's still essentially witches. And it's like, you know, a one boy rises up prophecy. But Dune, at its core, is about actually knowing that you can learn stuff. Dune is about being self-aware. Dune is a self-help book before there was self-help books. It's a book about controlling your shit and guiding your own future. Mate, Dune's got it all.
Brutal.
The Duke's son sees too much.
Here's my boy. Again, I don't know who this guy is, but I really trust him. He's very handsome. He's got a diamond, so that probably makes him really trustworthy. I'm pretty sure this guy's like a real good guy or something like that. He's probably going to hang around for ages. Yeah, I like him. Yeah, I feel good about him, whoever he is. The Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. Now, in the books, the Baron Vladimir Harkonnen had that surgery that you get on your legs if you're a bit short and you want to be taller. And he just kept getting the surgery every year. So he's like a giraffe person. No. So the Baron Vladimir Harkonnen is so fat and so over luxurious and greedy that he has suspensor fields that make him float and lift around. So don't worry, he's not on stilts. He's not just real tall.
I do kill them all. God in heaven.
Get everything with guns off the ground! Go!
This is an extermination. They're picking my family off one by one.
Let's fight like demons.
Yo, so these people here have the blood markings that these people here have. This is not Gidi Prime.
They're not.
See this? This is a Harkonnen. See them? They are Harkonnens, the blood enemies. But
Before. They're not human. They're brutal.
these people are Sardaukar. This is either going to be planet Kaitane, home of the Emperor, or most likely this is a planet called Salusa Secundus. Salusa Secundus was the original home of the Imperial family, and it basically got turned into a prison planet, and it's kind of like the Emperor's secret. But the prison planet of Salusa Secundus, 3 men out of 5 die within the first year of being there. Those who continue to be alive end up being the hardest, most fucked up people available in the galaxy. And it's a secret that the Emperor has, because other houses would turn against him if they found out. But he uses his own prison world to indoctrinate and fanaticize his hardcore hitman squad army. So in order to help the Harkonnens fuck over the Atreides, because the Emperor's not allowed to have a hand in personal feuds, but the Duke Leto is so strong and powerful among the Landsraad and his own people, he's so well loved, he could actually threaten the Emperor's position. So the Emperor's kind of like, yo, go take Arrakis. I've got a gift for you, fiefdom of Arrakis. And then he's like, yo, Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, yo, bro, I'm going to help you defeat your enemy, and I'm going to lend you 5,000 Sardaukar terror troopers. So these people who are going through a blood ritual are Sardaukar. And they are the most feared military in the universe until we learn a little bit more about what the fuck is going on with the Fremen.
The Duke's son sees too much.
This is I do kill them all.
Oh yeah, right. Really good writers who create this sort of stuff and manage to put it all together. I genuinely don't know how they do it. They blow my mind.
God in heaven.
Like, good writers are like so fucking cool.
Guns off the ground, go!
This is an extermination. They're picking my family off one by one.
Let's fight like demons.
Anyway, So basically, they end up having some meetings with some smugglers, and Duncan kind of has to keep them alive. This might be when they're first attacked, or this might even be later. I'm going to say first, because he's still wearing standard pants instead of desert gear.
Dad, what if I'm not the future of House Atreides?
So they have a little moment of this in the David Lynch 1984 version as well. Because they've got Jürgen, is it Jürgen Prochnow, the guy from Das Boot, the German dude to play Duke Leto. And there's a bit where, like, Paul wants his father to be proud. Like, Duke Leto's such an important man. But Duke Leto has leadership and awareness for a human being. And he's surrounded in a universe by people who are hyperhuman and are just perceiving things that he isn't. And he's aware that he's not quite catching everything. And it's almost like this kind of shadow that falls over him, where he knows that, like, there's a dangerous fate for his family. And so he stops kind of thinking about his own future and starts thinking about Jessica and Paul and about their future. And it's bittersweet, because he sort of knows that, like, the odds are stacked terribly against his household.
A great man doesn't seek to lead. He's called to it.
Aloha, how you guys doing?
But if your
Hey,
answer
Drago.
is no, you'll still be the only thing I ever needed you to be. My son.
I like it.
Will you protect
Let's go here.
my son?
So, right here, you've got your fight with Jamis. Right here is probably when Paul has to truly become a Fremen. You're not truly a Fremen warrior until you've learned to ride a sandworm. Ladies, come learn to ride my sandworm. You're not a woman until you've ridden a sandworm. That's what I tell him. So these are like, this is all like obvious. This is Hook stuff. It's Fremen shit. It's Fremen shit.
If anything happens.
I heard that the planetologist, Liette Kynes, instead of being a white dude, is now a black lady. So I wonder if this is a Fremen, or I wonder if this might be Liette.
Will you protect Paul?
With my life.
So after everything I said about the Bene Gesserit sisterhood and how even if one of them's your family... Oh my goodness! Yo, Great White Kitty, you lovely thing. Yo, how you doing? I heard something about riding a sandworm. Get out, you filth. So, like, in terms of, like, what I was saying about the Bene Gesserit sisterhood, or thank you very much for the bitties, always kind of, like, putting the sister's requirement first, which, again, the Wheel of Time ripped it off. Aes Sedai, anyone? Jessica fell in love with the Duke. She truly loved him. Her job was to have a daughter to help guide the political future of the various houses. But having a son meant so, because these women are hyper capable. They can choose the gender of their kid before they, like, during conception. So she gave birth to a son. And that not only fucked up the political scheming of this entire sisterhood, it fucked up their biological game plan. Because the sisterhood, for hundreds of generations, has been keeping an eye on human genealogy and DNA, to the point they're trying to create something called the Kwisatz Haderach. They are trying to get the ultimate human bloodline to create a male who has prescient psychic vision and is capable of reaching into his own DNA memory of his ancestors, leading all the way back to the Greek days and the wars of Agamemnon. Instead, she had a son, and that fucked up the game plan royally. You think I am the Kwisatz Haderach, but you're wrong. I'm something else. Kwisatz Haderach roughly translates as the shortening of the way. Someone who can see the path. Mate. Great work, Kitty. I hope you're doing well. Meister Alone, thank you very much for vibing. Todge, Fenrir. I can see you golded me. Mikey, remember the companion TV series about the sisterhood they're doing? Wait! They're making a Bene Gesserit TV series. Wait.
Only together can we stand a chance.
Obviously, we know that's Stilgar. You start off with a barrel, and then you have 2 rats. And then you release the rats back into the island. But now they eat only rat. Perfect. Perfect James Bond. That's not the best graphics blend in the world. I'm gonna be honest. Do you know how, like, what they have to do is they have to so they obviously composite this, but when you're still compositing and then your final pass is done by a 2D render artist, the 2D artist, obviously the problem is the join, so they just overshadow it, so you end up with floating face syndrome. And for that reason, I give this film 0 out of 10. I'm here all day. Yo, so long story short, I'm really, really fucking excited for this. Guys, thank you very much for hanging out. Get your sweet selves into the comment section below. Are you excited for Dune? Do you have thoughts and ideas? Have I missed something or just gotten something really wrong? Because I'm going off like my memory of the books and my passion for this film and my memory for the David Lynch and the Jodorowsky like failed projects. Let me know. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.